On the very first episode of Roots and Culture, we got a veteran UK producer talking about desi culture and music. What is happening, beautiful people? It's your boy DJ Reminisce, and welcome to Roots and Culture, the show where I talk about things that are important to me. Hopefully you guys would like the same things too. On this inaugural first episode of Roots and Culture TV, we got a UK veteran producer, Rishi Rich, who's one of my personal favorite producers in the game, talking about music, culture, life, and he's accompanied by one of his artists that he's producing, Bawa, who happens to be someone local here from Vancouver. Trust me, this conversation we had was absolutely epic. So let's get the show on the road. Fam, welcome to Roots and Culture. I'm your host, DJ Reminisce, and in the studios we got the one, the only, check this out, man, Rishi Rich is in the studios.
Yo, man.
And we've got Dave Bawa in the studios.
What up?
And Frontline's in the house too, man. Don't be shy, he's in the corner over there.
Ball runner.
That's right. But listen, we got a lot to talk about because this is a long time coming. First of all, I've met Rishi a few times, and I've been hounding him on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. But when you come to Vancouver, make sure you come by the studio. You know what? I'm thankful you were able to take the time out.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for all your support. I see your reviews and everything.
Do you?
Yeah.
But we're talking about an album that's due in a couple of months. I've been following it on social media just because I'm a gearhead. He's been in the studios working with Rishi, and you know what? This is how was the experience? Like, first of all, how'd you guys meet? Like, where'd the concept come from? I mean, you know what I mean? Because let's be real, you're a different generation. Yeah. I know you've listened to Rishi's music. I mean, his stuff is timeless. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
And when I first heard that you guys were working together, I was like, wow, man, this is crazy.
Just first and foremost, I always like to pick the seasoned producers. Myself personally, I do enjoy working with guys who, like the legends, just because I do think there's a certain level of care that's taken in the production process. So that was definitely something that was on my radar. The other thing was Rishi had just moved to Atlanta. He was looking for a rapper. And again, I'm by no means a rapper, but I sent him a little demo that I put together that...
Come on, man. You spit some bars, man.
It didn't work for what he needed it. But actually, my boy Rush Tour got on that record. Okay. So that was cool. So it's a frontline thing in that sense.
Shout out to Rush Tour, man.
That's how me and Rishi linked up. And then in May, we recorded my first single called Don't Stop, which is the one that we're going to be going with first, which is going to be the first
single. That's the lead single, yeah?
Lead single off Unit 404. And the rest is just rock and roll history, man. So
that's cool, man. So, Rich, let's talk about the production. Mm-hmm. How was it for you? Was it something like you had, basically, kuli shutti? Because we've had conversations before, and you're not really sort of genre specific. Yeah. Even though you made some of the most classic Bhangra records ever in history. But how was it for you? Was it just basically you can just sit down, do your thing, cup of cha, and...
No, I think with me, every artist I work with is different, so I kind of get a vibe off the artist. And like you said, I've never been scared, never been kind of this is the only kind of music I do. And I think when I met Dave and when I heard what his ideas and where he wanted to go musically, I was like, I'm down for that because, we were on the same page musically anyway. We both love R&B, jazz, funk, obviously Punjabi music. So I was like, let's just make an album which is just very organic. Let's not think about it. Whatever happens, let's just make it. And that's what it was. We spent every day, and it was such an amazing and beautiful experience because we just had so much fun. We laughed a lot. We were just himself, him and myself. We were writing melodies together, lyrics, recording, and then we would go out, and then we would come back and then listen to what we've done. And we did that for 16 days straight, I think. And then by that, suddenly we had an 11-track album or something.
You know what? It's amazing, not that you had constraint of time, but whatever so many days you had in Atlanta with them, it's amazing how much magic you can create.
Yeah, it's true.
One thing I find is we have too much time now to create music, you know what I mean? Yeah. So how was that experience? what was it like? It's just boom, record done.
I mean, if anyone see me work, I'm fast as it is. Okay. I work very fast in the studio. I like to kind of keep things moving. If something sounds good, I don't like to lose that moment of how you feel about the song or how you feel about the music there. Because if you go, okay, let's just, I've been with people that say, okay, let's just park that idea and let's just work on something else. I'm like, let's develop this idea. Because some of the tracks, when we started, they were like, okay, that's cool. And we say, no, let's just develop them. And one sound or one dynamic to that song or that music can change the vibe, and that's what was happening. And there's no genre to this album, but what it is, it's made with a complete sense of it's very musical. It's I take a lot of care recording vocals. So I make sure vocally everything is on point. And that's where I think, as much as we were working together, I still was developing Dave at the same time. Just about harmonies, about recording vocals, about doing this, melodies. But then he brought his own flavor, his own swag, and it was great. And then, after that, we were like, okay, we've done the album. Normally, a lot of the stuff I do, I get it mixed anyway, and some of the stuff I mix. And Dave was like, Rich, I want it mixed now. He had a few engineers that he wanted. I said, you know what, just do what you need to do, because it is my baby as well, and I want it to sound the best it can, because I'm not a mix engineer. I know how to mix because I've been in the industry for so long. I've been around engineers. I've learned from some amazing producers. But when you go to someone who's just specializes in that, that's all they do day to day.
You know what? I want to touch up on that. Two reasons is, one, I find that with our Bhangra, producers are very hesitant to be able to give you the files,
the parts and stuff,
which is fine. I get it, right?
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, like I haven't heard anything yet, obviously, but I mean, there's no doubt it's going to sound crisp and clean, because I know the engineer that mixed the stuff. I do follow him on Instagram and stuff like that. To me, it's important to have that final finished, hot 97 sounding product, because you've now put yourself in a position to win. Because you know what, iTunes sales are great. Yeah, you get the YouTube hits, but man, I'm talking, when I in the studio working with people, it's like, you got to think about movies. You got to think about Netflix.
Yeah, of course.
That's where the market is going.
I learned that from a very, very young age, and a very early age in my career, when I remember when we did Dance With You, and we mixed it, and Virgin Records were like, we need to get it mixed by I think it was Mark Frank at the time, who used to work for Sony, and we because it needs to sit with what's playing on UK commercial radio, and I was like, I'm cool with that, and that's where I kind of did learn about you can be a great producer, but your mix is just that little sparkle on the top, which will just take it, and you can play it against a Drake record, or a pop record, or whatever it is, and it should just, whether it's Punjabi record or Hindi, it doesn't matter. And in India, that's why Bollywood stuff sounds amazing, because everything is mixed.
Yeah, they got some top
and they've got some amazing
100%.
engineers and studios and stuff like that. And so going back to that, so now I live in India. So when I've been meeting people and directors, I always play Dave's album, just because I think it's geared up for movie anyway. And they're like, this sounds amazing, So that for me, resonates what Dave wanted to do in the first place, about everything, every procedure, every step for this album, music, mix, mastering, video, marketing, everything is 150%, and that's really important to me.
How was it the same idea for you? Was it really important to get that that final polish look? Because I mean, to me, as an engineer, nothing irritates me more when you hear, honestly, like a shit sounding mix.
I hate shitty mixes. It's like my biggest piss off. But like, as an artist, it is very odd for a singer to say to a producer, especially a well-seasoned producer, that, hey man, I need to get this mix somewhere else. It wasn't because the mixes weren't good. The mixes were sick.
Yeah.
The Rishi mixes are nuts. But I had to bring MSM in there because I actually had a long-standing relationship with him, because he actually mixed This Is Me as well. He did my first EP. But then obviously, like, I was at a little bit more of an amateur stage in my career at the time. So, like, it's two completely different records, but I knew that there was something there, because he's worked with legends.
For sure.
He's from recording to everything. He was always teaching us along the way. So that was a cool process, man. And then the mastering, when it came to the master, I was, you're too deep at that point to turn around and be like, send it to somebody who does it for $50. But I was like, we were doing our research, and Fortune had just come out. Not Fortune, sorry. I think whatever the Justin Bieber album was, the last one.
Yeah.
The one with Sorry on it.
Yep.
And that was just so massive at the time. And his name is Tom Coyne, and he's worked with, like, you name it, like
great
Beyonce and other people. And then he was really adamant that I use Tom.
Yeah.
And man, and we sent it out to New York to get mastered. But when you get that product back, unlike other artists, I'm not concerned about, like, okay, oh man, I can't wait for that music video with like 100 girls and like 300 cars, and like, I was just like, the music is gonna speak for itself.
Yeah.
So this whole album is not about the flash. It's not about okay, like, watch me in the videos and this and that and the other, and be all up in the mix like that. It's just about It's just about the music. Because the biggest thing I've had to overcome in my career is like image. You know, they always say your image, right? You know, majors have always said to me, "Oh, you know, he looks a little too different." Being a big boy and stuff is not easy when you're trying to make smooth R&B records, right? So for me, this time I said, "Okay, you know what? I'm very confident that you know what I did in the studio speaks for itself." So you know, it's just about the music, man.
No, it's cool. Like, these are important conversations we're having here, fam, because it's not like, you know, Dave's here and, you know, Rishi, they're here promoting the album, and that's going to get done. That's not the point. The point is the journey and what you can learn from this. And this is the reason why I have him on the show, because you've got, you know, a heavyweight like Rishi in here who's worked with everybody, and he's telling you that, you know, your final product has got to sound dope. You know, I find that we as a culture are so used to listening to shit sounding music that we think it's good. Case in point, I'm mixing a record. They're like, this doesn't sound good. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about, right? There's that thing, and you've clarified that no, you need to get the right places and spend the right money in the right places.
Yeah,
and I totally agree with you, right?
Well, even if you haven't got money, because not every producer has, you know, money to get it mixed, and but at least learn about sonics.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing, because you know you'll only get to the place, you know, you will have, you know, finances and things like that, because not every producer has that. But just at least learn about how to mix drums, how to mix strings, you know, how to mix your instruments. Vocals is so important.
Yeah,
you know, you don't have
important.
to use, you know, you don't have to use SSL plugins and stuff like that. You can use whatever stock plugins, but just make it work. So if it sits nice in the song, and these things you can learn.
Yeah, I do reviews, fam. You know, I'm not saying I'm the go-to engineer, but you know, I've taken tips and tricks from, like, you know, Dave Pensato, Ken, like all my friends are Grammy Award winning engineers, and they're saying, you know what, you need to do this for your people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's plenty of resources in terms of that. Like, you know, and it must have been a cool learning experience for you too. Like, because you know what, being in the studio here with us is different, right? But when you're in a, you know, when you're in your A game, you know, where he's like, shut up and go do it again, man. Do
I did send him home. I did send him home once.
Yeah, he sent me home once.
I sent Gippy home once. That wasn't good. Yeah. But you know, how was the process? Like, what was the learning process like? How did it change you in terms of you know?
The whole, like, the recording vocals with Rishi was completely different than any other producer I've ever worked with. And at this point, I've worked with a number of producers. So, speed was one thing. I've never recorded vocals so fast, so precisely. And like, the accuracy and speed is like, it's one of those things that, like, they have to have a perfect marriage. And Rishi definitely has that on lock. And we were, you know, recording vocals, and I would do a take or whatever, and he'd go, okay, cool, no, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what? No, just do it again. And then I was like, okay, and he doesn't give you time to think, and you're going, and then what happens is you get out of your mind, and for lack of a better term, you stop mind fucking yourself.
No, it's true.
Singer, and you go, okay, man.
Do it.
And
you end up doing it from the heart, right?
And one time I was like, we got into it. Like, we got into it and into a little, like, you know, like little brother, bigger brother argument. And I was like, no, I need to hear it. He goes, you need to shut up and just let me do my job. And I go, okay. And then he goes, just trust me. I'll make you sound good.
Yeah. And
I was like, okay, bro. And that was it, man. After that, I never questioned the process or the way that we go about things. And it's really a beauty, man. It's like, it rubbed off on me now. So when I was recording Rush, when Rush came down last, because we all get into our own mind space, I was kind of the same way with him. So it's cool, man. It's a really good, positive way to work, actually.
No, it's cool, man. I have that battle every single day where it's like, listen, you just got to trust me.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Trust me. Like,
trust your producer.
You know, I'm using Drake as a reference. So you know, like, your record's going to sound popping. Just, no, but I want this. And he's like, you just don't get it. Anyways, that's another argument. But speaking of, okay, well, let's talk about the album, first of all. It's called
Unit 404.
That's right. And it's going to be out in a couple months, like you were saying.
Yes.
Now, first of all, let's talk about the name, because I have no idea what it means. I'm sure there's significance about it.
Yeah.
And why did you choose to make an album? Because, you know, it's like the trend has been basically singles. Mm-hmm. So, you know, what was the thought process around that?
So the name Unit 404 is actually my apartment number. Cool. So that was the original, like, the bed theory of why. It's all based upon, you know, just kind of true events and what I was going through at that point in my life. Since day one that I've been on the scene, I've always said that I never write songs for the sake of writing the song.
Okay.
Like, I won't do like a Lucky Nuhalale for no reason. Like, you know, if I don't feel it. But yeah, so it was what I was going through, man. So it's a musical journey. It's like, you know, it's got love, it's got passion, it's got, you know, a party track on there as well. But it was definitely I was progressing in my life. I had just, released an album. I was getting, a little bit heavier into the music industry, as well as I was moving in a place in my life where, I was expanding, growing up. So that's what, what the album's about. And then it turns out, because we were recording in Atlanta, the area code's 404. So.
Oh, really?
It just worked.
That's crazy.
The Atlanta area code is 404. So it's one of the area codes at least. So yeah, man. So it was Unit 404, and we kind of just stuck with that. And why we did an album is because I truly feel that you cannot touch an audience with a single.
Okay.
You can definitely you can break some ground, and you can be like, okay, I got a hit under my belt.
No, it's cool. Right? That's really cool. Interesting.
It's a hit. And it's like, okay, I made everyone dance, or I made everyone cry once.
Yeah.
That's it. And you got one shot, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
An album, and even if you look at some of the most successful dudes right now, look at J. Cole, for example, 2014 Forest Hills Drive. None of those songs are party records. Not a single one of them is.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest hip-hop albums out there right now. Why? Because it touches you, because it's a musical journey. And I really do feel that albums were journeys before. Music was a journey before. So I did everything in my power to make sure that from start to finish, that album is in order. So you actually do have to listen to track 1 through track 11 for it to make complete sense. So it's a musical journey.
I also think that it's you got to be very confident in yourself to say, I'm going to release an album, because one, it's gonna show the audience, a lot about the artist. One song cannot really, I think, represent what the artist is about, especially a true musician.
Yeah.
I think a lot of artists now are really worried about, the sales of music, and if they're going to get a gig and stuff like that. Obviously, that's not my world. But my point is that if you're in this game for the right reasons, then give your heart and soul and do an album. And that's the thing, and because an album is a body of work which will never go away. I've always done albums, and I'll take my time. I've taken 6 years on my next album, and I'm not really down if it sells one copy, if it sells. It's not about that. It's my way of showing this is what my love for music and every song that I've been going through. And obviously I'm not an artist because I don't perform and stuff. But for Dave, I think it's a great move. It just shows that he's not really kind of worried about whether he's going to get gigs and stuff. He's like, this is me. This album represents me. Being from Vancouver, working with someone like me, going from here to there, and everything he's been about. And it's what it represents is a honest album.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's what is that's why I wanted to do it, because when he said he wants to do an album, I was like, yes, finally an artist has come to me and said, I want you to make the album. And that's, for me, important.
And it was very important to me, one producer on an album.
Yep. Was it just continuity of sound, or?
Well, continuity of sound is just one thing, but when you want something to eat, and you got your bua, your mommy, you got your masi, you got your mom.
Yep.
You don't be like, okay, mom, you know what? You do the tarka, masi, you come over here and you add the mercha, and no,
mashup.
It's not a mashup, right? And I do feel that there's a difference, because why the hell would I go to 15 different experts to get one thing?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And
that's fair.
And the thing was, with me and Harj, we have such a great standing relationship. We have music coming out. I called him and said, hey, bro, I just want to let you know, man, I'm thinking of doing my next album with Rishi. It's all love. And he goes, bro, I love you. I got your back. It's all good.
Yeah.
And he goes, you came to me for This Is Me because that you wanted something.
Yeah.
That I wanted something that Harj could do.
Yeah.
Now I wanted something that Rishi could do.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very important that you go to the craftsman who's going to give you that final product.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, 1-2 punches still work. DJ Mustard, YG, you can go back to Dre and Snoop. They work, right? Absolutely. So there's no reason why, and that's cool that you did a full body of work. I think I completely agree with both of you.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to touch upon, you did say, you should do it for the right reasons. There's a lot of ignorant fools out there. Yes, I said it out loud. Can you give me a couple of those right reasons? Because the reason I'm asking is because it's one thing for me to say it, but when it comes from someone like yourself, people are going to hear it and they're actually going to absorb it.
I mean, I think the main thing is there's two things. Is if I don't know if it's, because if you're in this industry because you want to make money, you want to be famous, I think that's wrong. I think
boom.
I think that's a wrong way of thinking. If you're going to go into music full time, then yes, it becomes a business. And I've been working in music since I was 16. I have not had no education, so that's been my only way of survival. However, I worked 10 years without earning a penny. I started earning when I was 26.
You hear that, folks?
And I was living with my mum, and she was like, "Don't worry, 26 Dance With You came out," and that's when my life changed. But what I did in those 10 years, I perfected my sound.
For sure.
I mean, so I knew, and not in an egotistic way, because if you know me, you know I'm not like that. I knew that I was ready.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You just had that.
I mean, I knew you put me in any room with any artist or I know I will blow them away.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, without just keeping my head down and working, because I've worked 10 years knowing that that's where I want to get. Now, my thing is, because I've mentored so many artists in this industry, so I've taught them the same thing. I'm like, fame and financial gain will come, but if you got to make the record for the right reason, and that is because you want, if you, for the love of music, I think it is. I mean, like, if you're talented and you want to get out there, you want to talk about your story, or even if you just want to make a party record, it doesn't have to be a meaningful, deep record. But then, you know, if you're a true artist, that will come. And I just feel in this industry, you know, and it's a shame because now the dynamics of music has changed. You know, a lot of artists are and have to depend on live income and live shows. There isn't that much outlet in terms of radio, and in terms of like TV and stuff like that. And everyone's kind of you have to kind of do your self PR, social networking, which is cool. I think it's a good way of reaching out to the world, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons. You know, and that's what I've always told the artists I work with. I mean, I've been approached by so many artists, and I will say, "Why do you want to do this?" And if they say, "You know what, I just want to get, I want to make loads of money and I want to be famous," I'm like, I'm not the right person to work with. Then,
wow,
I mean,
people got gold. They got some balls, man. To say something like that.
No, but I understand because this is what they see. You know, because when you see the commercial industry and when you look at the Punjabi, it's we have superstars, you know, but look at the superstars we have. Like when you look at the artists that we have, like Jazzy, Mulki, all these people are financially set, right? Yeah, because they've worked for a long time, and they live good, but they've worked really hard. It didn't come after one single. Yeah, you know, it came after like 6 albums or 10 albums.
But see, that's the biggest problem. Like, people are going to get so much value out of this because you've already taught them the basics of a music industry in less than 15 minutes. Yeah. Right. And I love the big heavy hitters just like you do. And what you see is like these guys are balling, they got planes and stuff, but they never talk about the 10 years like yourself.
You know, and you have to work. And
that's the stuff that I
think the music industry works a lot faster now. I don't think, I think if you have 1 or 2 or 3 big albums, whether it's in, obviously the industries are different. However, I think you can get to where you want to get in terms of like, if you want to, if it's a full-time thing, then it's like your job. I mean, you don't work for free, but you need to study. That's all it is. You need to study your craft. Yeah. So that's what I like to kind of teach artists is, and I've seen all my, most of my artists that I've worked with that have been around. So, whether what we say about, artists and people like Juggy and H and all of these guys have got great, they're financially really well off now, they're looking after their families, but they had to work a lot, especially someone like Juggy. Jay's doing amazingly well. And then look at the Punjabi, and this is what I said to Dave, and this is why I love why I wanted to work with him, because it wasn't about, he's spending probably so much money on this album, like the amount what I've seen, take away my rates, and you got M, and then you got Tom, and then you got this, and you got that.
Flights, hotels.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have that. This is how a major record company works.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
doing
I know.
it with 4 people. From Vancouver, which is you got to hold your hand.
By the way, shout out to my team, because I do have to take a second to just give a lot of love to Renee Sandhu, who's the CEO of the Frontline. He kind of fronted us blindly and just said, I got you.
Yeah.
Well,
whatever it costs, whatever it
bro.
takes, don't sweat it. My debit card is your debit card, and I trust you and Man Paul to make a decision. Cool. And this man's got a family, he's got kids, he's got a wife. He's got, a household and everything that he takes care of, as well as a booming business that he has to pay bills for. But he said, what, don't sweat it. This is a partnership. This is a business. And then not to mention, our own blood, sweat, and tears. Like, we're working jobs and we're working, owning businesses and we're taking whatever we make and not going out and partying and not going out and doing all those things. And we're putting it back into the music in sheer hopes that the SoundCloud gets 100,000 hits or 1 million hits or whatever. So, to anybody's out there who's a true music lover, when people say, oh, support the music, they don't just mean like, please go on iTunes and spend 99 cents. They mean like, pump the shit out of that song to your boys, to your girls, and be like, yo, this is it. Blast it in your car. Roll your windows down and really like represent like people used to back in the day. Like when you used to like a record, you made it known.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do think that our generation has kind of lost that like ownership of like, oh, I love this song. You know, oh, I really feel this music right now. I mean, I think we need to get that back, and that's something that we all do have to grow, and not only within our just Indian music industry. I'm just saying, as human beings generally, we gotta respect music and art a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. Because without music, the world would be a cold place, bro.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're talking about the brand new album that's coming out real soon here. Full body of work, which is awesome. Which means what? 11 tracks, 12 tracks? 11 tracks. Yeah. So it's gonna be. Like I said, it's done well. I know the person who mixed it. I know the person who mastered it. So sonically, it's going to sound dope, which is great for someone like me because I listen to everything in my headphones. But before we get into the album and stuff, I do want to ask you guys, because I do ask this all the time, to people is, what's your take right now on specifically the Bhangra industry? Like, you've seen me, you've seen my rants and stuff. I like yourself, Rishi. You know, you've been in the Western world, you know, with Ted Riley and stuff like that. You've seen stuff. You've been in Bollywood, totally different beast. Right, I've been mixing records for mainstream now for God knows how long, and I just don't understand, for me personally, why
happened.
You know, like even if we adopted like 10%, you know, but let's be fair. When you guys had 2.0 and the stuff that you guys were releasing back then, you know, like in the studio, Mentor. I know he's a mix engineer as well, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that stuff was like, pardon my French, was fucking phenomenal, man. Like it sounded really good. Like you guys went from like the band boy age, which in my opinion, and then the next generation or the next gen of Bhangra music was definitely, you know, you, Juggy, and Rishi. Like, you know, what's your take on, I guess, what it is now or what you think the next gen's going to be?
It's a really tricky question. I get asked, you know, a lot actually when I have interviews. I mean, one, obviously I've been out away from the UK. I've been living in America, and now I'm living in India. And I guess one thing I've always you know, myself, and this is such a personal thing, is I've always tried to stay in my own lane. Like, I take time on records. I'm not really, you know, I've been in this industry for so long, in a sense where I started when BBC Asian Network started. I helped them start, you know, I helped them back, you know, get, you know, the urbanness, you know, I helped Adil Ray, Nihao in terms of getting brand new artists, and so they could develop, you know, they could go out and find them. So I've never had a problem with anyone in I was saying this, in this industry, you know, like, and it, you know, for some reason, if Asian Network don't play, you know, playlist my song, which happened once only, I don't have a problem with it. I think what's the situation is there's not that much outlet for people to put out music which is going to fit either it's Bhangra or if it's Bollywood, right? Now, I've never, you know, even when I did Bollywood, it was still urban. Yeah. Even when I did Punjabi music, it's still urban. I don't make desi music. So the people who are trying to fit in the middle are struggling because the playlist is just Punjabi music or Bollywood. There's not like, you know, I don't think, you know, back in the day you had Bobby Friction, even though he's still there, but all he did was he was looking out for new artists.
Yeah, he was the king of weird stuff.
Yeah, and in a good way. And radio stations, I think, have stopped championing new artists. I don't know why. You know, like it's a weird thing, and that's why there's so much new artists coming out without development. You know, everyone's putting out the same thing, whether it's a bit of taking a Hindi sample, doing this, or doing a cover version, or doing this, you know, and stuff like that. Which is, you know, everyone's got to do what they got to do. And this, you know, I can't really say too much about the scene. One thing I will say, like, I know now living in India, they are looking at the Punjabi scene, you know, especially after Kala Chashma and stuff like that, and you know, which will just come and go. I think, you know,
it always does. Once every 5 years.
Yeah, it'll just be that. But Our style of Punjabi music, and trust me, we got slated for it. You know, Juggy was like, people used to, you know, the hardcore Punjabi singers and listeners were like, you guys are too soft. We're like, whatever, this is what we do. We listen to R&B, we listen to Punjabi music, we mix the both, and this is what we do, and this is what we love doing. So I can't say, you know, we did what we just wanted, what we loved doing. And for some reason it worked at that point. You know,
but it was because I was in England at the time, and it was real music. You guys,
that's the thing.
You guys were singing. and I'll nail it on the head. When's the last time you saw a video shot on Southall Broadway?
Yeah, it won't happen.
You see what I'm saying?
It won't happen, yeah.
I would say it was Juggies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was shot. The clothes you were wearing was what I wear. You're talking about things that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So it was that relatability. And I use that example all the time.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I can't. I honestly can't answer. I feel. I do, and I've always said I feel quite sad for the new artists because I feel radio stations. A lot of radio stations are like, how many hits have you got on YouTube before we even look at you as an artist?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's why, and then it's a full circle because if you're an artist who's got a setup in their bedroom and you're trying to make music, you're buying beats off the internet, you haven't got a great writer, you're doing this, you haven't got finance to. It's just a full circle. So it's kind of like they're just in this rut of putting stuff on YouTube, putting a bit on SoundCloud, putting the links out and see what happens. And then, Asian Network will say, okay, how much stuff have you got? Or how many views have you got? Then they try and get their views up and it just goes round and round in circles.
And it's sad, man, because when you look at hip hop, right now, in the last 2 years, street records are now breaking into radio. Where it used to be records from the club would hit the radios.
Yeah.
So there is a flow of how music is heard and how it's done. You know what I mean? Like there's fashions, right? That's something.
And I
we
think
just
the organicness of music has gone. Letting the people. Like I've always said, even with my new album, I'll keep on going back to that. The record company's like, what do you want the single to be? And this is the truth I'm going to tell you right now. Right? Yeah, we put that Master Slim single out, and that was whatever. Now I'm putting the whole album out, and I'm just going to say, let the people decide.
100%.
And that's it. And my album's got 18 songs on it.
Yeah, no, but your last album had 20 songs
exactly.
on it too.
and I still might put a few interludes, but my point is that I just want it to go out, let people like it. If they like it, let them enjoy the music, and then I can tell which track will be, people feeling, and if we want to cut a visual to it, we'll do it.
What's your take on this, man? Because you've heard from you. You're like right in the middle, bro. You're like from Gen Y, Gen X. So, you know what I mean? Like you've heard everything from, like you said, Sahodas all the way to the Harj Nagras of today, right?
Yeah, well, I'd like to say I'm very well versed in music. Like I listen to everything.
That's important.
And I listen to everything.
Pisses me off,
everything.
man.
Old and new.
Yeah.
So there's records on my iPod that are in a completely different language that I don't understand. Yeah. I listen to it because the music's shit hot.
Yeah.
Right? And going back to your question, I'll wrap it up in one sentence. You said, what is wrong with the Bhangra industry? The problem is, I'm not even a Bhangra artist.
What?
That's the problem with this industry, is that
you're brown,
we are a Bhangra industry. No, we're not. We are South Asian music. Bhangra is like the hip-hop. Urban is like R&B. Sufi rock is rock.
Yeah. Folk.
They don't get called Bhangra. Anybody outside of Punjab, that's the issue with the industry. We need classes, we need genres, we need classification.
Badly.
I shouldn't be fighting Ranjit Bawa. You know how many times people compare me to Ranjit Bawa just because my last name is Bawa? And I'm like, dude, like, what
I just
the
realized
fuck?
that now.
I'm like, yo, like, I love his music. I'm a Bhangra head. Don't get me wrong. You know this because from our personal relationship. I think his music is dope. But really, you're gonna compare me to Ranjit Bawa because, like, you know what I mean? We need that classification, man. That's the only issue.
And how do you I've been. That's why I went to the UK. I've spoke to Dips and stuff. And it's like, how, someone's got to start, because without the genres, I'm telling you, mark my words, it's going to kill us. I'm telling you, it's going to kill us. Because
it's true.
You cannot put you in the same boat as someone like, Kanwar Garewal or something. You understand what I'm saying? It's illogically
But that's
stupid.
the way I think I've always... I've actually said that about myself, that I'm just in my own lane and, I'm just making music and, I'll do tracks for people. I don't do too much music, but when I do it, it's one, I just give it my all. And, I've always stayed, and everyone who says it is like, Rishi, you've always stayed in your own lane. And that's because I've just not, I've kind of created, a genre, but it's kind of like I can do desi music if I want. I can do, Punjabi music, or I can just do Hindi music, but I like that fusion music, and that's my sound. And I think that's the most important thing as well, is stamping your sound as well.
Oh, yeah, man. But, you got a proven track record, bro. Yeah. I mean, when Sony came out with Jagidi, it was the most annoying hook I've ever heard in my life. But it's so goddamn catchy. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So you've got, staying in your lane, like you said, was probably it's the number one advice I give to anybody, whether it's you're a mix engineer, whether you're a writer, just, perfect that one thing, and then you can always branch out
and
into
that's
other
the
things,
thing,
man,
perfect your sound.
So, fam, we're almost near the end of this, conversation we're having. I don't like all these interviews because it's a conversation, right? And I do a fun thing where I'm gonna just basically fire off some questions. First answer on the top of your head. All right,
Okay, cool.
We'll start with Rich first. Ready? Okay, ready? Ja or other?
Ja.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to finish off.
Yeah.
A ja or
Other.
coffee.
Okay. The first app you check every day, Rishi?
WhatsApp.
What's up?
Okay. Favorite desi dessert?
I love chocolate burfi, actually.
I've never had that.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
What about you?
Love drummer.
Oh, yeah,
Keep
with
it
ice
simple.
cream.
Keep it simple.
Shimla pinks. Remember that? Okay, here's one. This will be an interesting one. Rishi, folk, Sufi, or urban desi music?
Urban desi music. Yeah.
Urban desi music.
Okay. I don't know if you guys... I'm a big reader. I like to read books. Fiction or non-fiction books?
Fiction.
Yeah? Do you remember the last book you read?
I'm reading. It's by Peter James. It's Dead Alive, something like that.
Okay.
Reading, yeah.
Non-fiction.
What's the last one you read? Or reading?
Reading right now is Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Oh, no, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Okay, Rishi, if you could have a job with someone who's passed away, who would it be?
R.D. Berman, maybe.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dope. What about you?
Michael Jackson.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
If you get a job with someone who's alive right now, who would it be?
We're in the industry.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't have to be industry.
Yeah, it would definitely be my mum.
Okay.
I don't get to see her a lot, so every time is precious with her.
Well, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Is she back in the UK?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't drink much, but...
Oh, sorry, coffee. If you could have coffee with someone who's alive right now, who would it be?
Mavs.
I would say, you know what? Scott Storch, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done that. He's cleaned up his act, too. Thank God. All right, final question. What are you rocking on your iPod right now?
What did I buy? I bought something. I gotta check this. This is gonna be funny.
Too. I buy a lot of music, man.
I know, man. Yeah, we actually buy music.
Yeah, I buy music.
If you don't buy music, you have no right to speak about it.
I buy it a lot, man.
People ask me all the time, who gives you the right to review it? Because I bought it.
I'm listening recently. My last purchase was Tu Cheese Birdie Hem Must off the album Moda.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I've been
bought this.
listening to a lot of 90s.
And I don't know why I bought this, but it's the last purchase I made.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
But listen, fam, let's talk about you, Dave.
Cool.
Albums coming out. Let's talk about, first of all, how someone can get a hold of you, more information, where they can catch up with the updates and stuff.
Yeah, just go.
Best
Best way to get in touch with me, man, is DaveBawa.com. Has everything. All my music, all my videos that I've done to date, all my social media links. I'm on everything. So instead of me bombarding you with every channel, it's just DaveBawa.com.
Cool, man. Yourself, Richie?
It's everything is on richyrich.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Any final words for someone who, they maybe, is looking at, maybe getting into the industry or, maybe wants to do keys like yourself?
I'll always say one thing with producers, if you're a producer, learn an instrument. I think that's very important. I learned Indian classical music from the age of 4 and I practically play most instruments. Perfect your sound. And that's it. And keep practicing, I know a producer who works with me who has become an amazing guitar player off you learning off YouTube. And a year ago he didn't know what he was doing.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I would say to singers and musicians is the reason why me and Rishi have the relationship that we have is because I'm never scared to ask him questions. I sit there and bombard him with questions about...
Also, actually, sorry to interrupt, but there's one thing which what you've done, what I've seen as an artist, is learn to use a music software. So you can record your own vocals. If you need to send scratches or demos to a producer, learn to kind of get technical, with with the computer. So you know, and because everyone's got a laptop, everyone's probably got GarageBand, everyone can get Logic now, or Cubase, or Studio One, or whatever. And just learn. You don't have to learn to be an amazing producer, but learn to record vocals. I think that's
learn to get your ideas down.
You'll learn to get your ideas. Don't put it on. Everyone puts it on their iPhone, which is cool. But I think if you can see it on the screen, you can start moving stuff around. You can copy paste and stuff like that.
I was like I was saying, you know, I was never scared to ask questions, and just being around him over the last year, like me playing piano, like you'll see sometimes on my Instagram that I'll put up little clips of me playing, and that's like I'm not a piano player by no means, man. I just something that I picked up, and I've only been playing for like a year and a half. But that helps me in my songwriting process. So really know about music, because you should be able to bang on a level where you go to a producer and you're not just like, so what do I do? Like you shouldn't have, like a singer shouldn't have that. Like you should be like, you know, you should be able to stand on your own 2 feet and be like, hey, you know what, man, I had this composition. It's like this. You should be able to talk musical lingo. You should be like, these are the keys, this is the scale I did it in, blah, blah, blah. That knowledge, trust me, I know it sounds geeky and it's tedious to learn, it's freaking annoying to learn, but man, it helps me in every single which way, because when I do live performances with bands, with guys like Coach Sandu or Bruce or Cal Muttu or whoever, when I tell them this is what the vibe is, we bang on a level.
No, but it helps us in the studio as well as the mix engineer.
So I think it's like it's a branch off what Rishi said, is just perfect as much as you can. I'm by no means perfect. I'm an amateur in this industry, but I'm trying to perfect every day.
That's cool, man. You know what? It's an absolute pleasure having you guys in the studio. I know this is like 2 years coming.
Yeah, man.
With Rishi's like 10 years coming, something like that. Greatly appreciate it, man. I wish you the best of luck.
Cheers.
You know what? Good luck, man. And thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much.
What did I tell you guys? I told you the conversation was going to be epic. Between the two of them, there's some really good takeaways there. When you have a veteran like Rishi Rich explaining the music industry, you got to take note, especially the part that you got to be in it for the right reasons. I think for me personally, that was probably one of the most important takeaways from this conversation. I think it's fair to say that Dave Bawa is in good hands with Rishi Rich, and we are all looking forward to his brand new album, which will be coming out real soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Roots and Culture. Please let me know in the comments below what you think about the show. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel that we stay up to date with the latest greatest information. I'm your boy DJ Reminisce. Peace out.